The observation deck of the Zarathi Council Station hummed with nervous energy as Ambassador Krelnax adjusted his sensory stalks for the third time in as many minutes. Beside him, Commander Anna Chen stood perfectly still, her hands clasped behind her back, watching the viewport with an expression that revealed nothing. "They're coming through hyperspace now," announced Jixon Torres from the tactical console, his voice steady despite the historic weight of the moment. The young human officer's fingers danced across the holographic display, tracking the incoming signatures. Krelnax's primary heart stuttered. For 3 cycles, the Galactic Council had demanded proof that humanity possessed the capability they claimed, proof that their species, barely 2 centuries into spaceflight, could have constructed something that rivaled the ancient precursor installations. The rumors had spread like radiation through the galactic network. Whispers of a human vessel so massive it had its own gravitational influence. A ship that had allegedly stopped the Kravesh Swarm's invasion fleet with a single weapon discharge. The Council had dismissed it as propaganda, the desperate boasting of a species trying to punch above their weight class. Then the Kravesh went silent. All 17 of their forward battle groups gone. No distress signals, no debris fields, no survivors. Just empty space where an armada had been. Hyperlane rupture in 5, 4, 3. Jixon counted down. The viewport blazed white as reality tore open. Krelnax instinctively stepped back, his species' ancient prey instincts screaming warnings that his rational mind struggled to suppress. Beside him, Anna didn't flinch. The Prometheus emerged. No, that wasn't accurate. The Prometheus didn't emerge from hyperspace so much as hyperspace collapsed to accommodate it. The vessel was beyond massive, it redefined the term. Krelnax's mind struggled to process the scale even as his ocular implants fed him measurements that seemed impossible. 47 kilometers long, 12 kilometers at its widest beam, mass readings that exceeded several moons he'd visited. The ship's hull was a deep gunmetal gray, inscribed with markings in humanity's dozens of languages, creating patterns that resembled ancient war paint more than standard vessel identification. By the ancients, breathed Counselor Vexithera, a usually stoic Mathonian whose crystalline form now pulsed with what could only be interpreted as fear. The readings must be an error. "They're not," Anna said quietly. "That's Titan Class 1, the Prometheus, humanity's first and currently only dreadnought of this classification." Krelnax watched as the vessel moved with impossible grace for something so enormous. Maneuvering thrusters longer than most corvettes fired in precise sequences, orienting the massive ship toward the Council Station. As it turned, Krelnax saw them, the weapon emplacements. Hundreds of them, thousands. Point defense systems that could shred fighter squadrons, railgun batteries that could crack continents, and there, running along the ship's dorsal spine like the ridges of some primordial beast, the primary weapons array, 7 massive cannons, each one a kilometer in length. "Those are graviton pulse cannons," Jixon explained, noticing where the council members' attention had fixed. "Each one can generate a localized gravity, well strong enough to compress a cubic kilometer of space into a singularity. The Kravesh learned that the hard way." "Impossible." Counselor Genthar's mandibles clicked in agitation. "Such technology would require energy outputs that would melt any known reactor core. The physics alone." "Humanity specializes in doing the impossible," Anna interrupted, a slight smile touching her lips. "We don't have the graceful antimatter engines of the Luminari, or the quantum probability drives of the Zarath. What we have is stubbornness, innovation, and the ability to look at a problem everyone says can't be solved and ask, what if?" The Prometheus came to a full stop 3,000 kilometers from the station. At this distance, Krelnax could see more details. Hangars large enough to house battle cruisers, shield generators that flickered with a faint blue luminescence, sensor arrays that were undoubtedly cataloging every ship, every weapon, every piece of defensive infrastructure the Council Station possessed. "The Prometheus carries a crew of 40,000, Anna continued, her voice taking on a tone that Krelnax recognized from military briefings. "It has manufacturing facilities capable of producing everything from ammunition to fighter craft. It carries enough supplies to operate independently for 5 years. Its shields can withstand sustained bombardment from a full battle fleet. And yes, before you ask, we're building 4 more. The silence in the observation deck was absolute. Counselor Herrenvox, eldest member of the council and representative of a species that had been spacefaring for over 50,000 years, spoke for the first time. His voice was soft, almost reverent. Why? Anna turned to face the assembled council members. Because when we joined the galactic community, we learned the truth that you'd all accepted as inevitable, that the Kravesh swarm would eventually consume everything, that the Voidborn Raiders would continue their terror, that the ancient borders had calcified, and the great age of expansion was over. She walked to the viewport, placing one hand against the transparent aluminum, as if she could touch the massive vessel beyond. Humanity doesn't accept inevitable. We've faced extinction 100 times on our own world and refused to die. When we looked at the Kravesh, we didn't see an unstoppable force. We saw a problem that needed an engineering solution. Jixon brought up a holographic display showing the engagement with the Kravesh swarm. The Prometheus encountered their vanguard fleet in the Kepler 442 system. 73 swarm vessels, including 12 capital ships. Standard Council protocol would have been to evacuate and establish a defensive line 3 systems back. The display showed the Prometheus alone, surrounded by a sea of hostile contacts. Instead, Captain Morrison ordered the graviton pulse cannons to full charge. 3 shots. 3 singularities. The gravitational shear destroyed 61 vessels outright. The remaining 12 tried to flee. They didn't make it to hyperspace. The recording showed streaks of light as secondary weapon systems tracked and eliminated the fleeing ships with clinical precision. Krelnax felt his secondary hearts beginning to sync with his primary, a biological response his species only exhibited in the presence of apex predators. You must understand, Anna said, turning back to the council. We're not trying to conquer or intimidate, but humans learned long ago that peace isn't maintained by hoping for the best. It's maintained by being strong enough that war becomes unthinkable. As if responding to her words, the Prometheus powered up its engines. The space around it distorted as the massive reactors fed energy to drives that could push the enormous vessel to speeds that defied its mass. The Kravesh understood, Anna continued. After the Prometheus, they retreated beyond their original borders. The Voidborn Raiders? We encountered one of their terror fleets last month. They took one look at our long-range scans and jumped away without firing a shot. Councillor Herrenvox approached the viewport, his ancient eyes fixed on the human dreadnought. You've changed the balance of power in this galaxy. No, Anna corrected gently. We've reminded everyone that the balance can be changed. That stagnation isn't destiny. That species younger than the Council can still teach the galaxy new lessons. The Prometheus began a slow roll, showing off its full profile. A demonstration that was clearly intentional. Every weapon system, every shield generator, every piece of technology that had gone into creating this monument to human engineering was on display. We came to the stars later than most of you, Jixon added, his pride evident. We don't have tens of thousands of years of history in space. What we have is the memory of looking up at the stars from a single world and dreaming of reaching them. That hunger, that drive, it doesn't go away just because we've left our cradle. Anna pulled out a data crystal and placed it on the conference table. Full technical specifications of the Titan class. Not weapons systems, we're not foolish enough to share that. But enough for you to understand what we've built. Enough to know that humanity stands ready to defend not just our own territory, but our allies. She let that word hang in the air. Allies. Not subjects, not vassals, equals. The galaxy has been cold and dark for a long time, Anna said softly. Maybe it's time humanity brought a little fire. Outside, the Prometheus completed its maneuver and hung in space like a steel promise. In the observation deck, the council members stared in silence, each processing what this meant for the future. The human age had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.